the city's public safety supervisor, and what that job entails is doing the emergency management aspect for the city. One of the programs that mentioned on the flyer was Teen CERT. It's not a program that we have, but we'll go into a little bit more in the presentation as far as what CERT's about, what Teen CERT's about, and then in general I'm going to give you guys a quick overview of what emergency management is so you know what the city does when we have to do a response or prepare for any type of disaster or event. So emergency management, everybody does management in their regular life. You manage projects, you have your homework schedule, your athletic schedule, you're managing all those, putting together, making sure that everything's covered and done on time. Emergency management is doing the same concept, but just taking it and coordinating all the different resources that would help us either prepare, respond, or recover from a disaster, either natural or man-made. Who can give me some examples of a natural disaster? I heard it. Earthquake?
Fires?
Fires? What kind of fires?
Forest fires.
Forest fires? Or,
Windstorms.
I was waiting for that one. Windstorms. How about some man-made disasters?
An explosion in a nuclear plant.
That could be.
Car crash, take care of explosion.
Yeah. And so some of this, what the man-made disasters are usually what they call terrorism events. And so you have someone that's going to wear a suicide bomber or something, or they blow the Oklahoma, or 9/11 is a natural, or is a man-made disaster, flying the airplanes and crashing it into the World Trade Center. With emergency management, there's different steps or phases that we have to go through, and it's a continuous repetitive cycle that we do. And so just because you finish one component of that phase, that doesn't mean that it stops. As you can see, it continuously is going about and around. And so the phases or the steps that we have for emergency management, one is the prevention and mitigation part of it. And that is basically any activity that prevents or reduces the effect of a disaster. And so give me some examples of preparedness. First aid, you guys are doing some of it right now. You're in this class to learn that information, so you're preparing yourself. Mitigation is a little bit like preparedness, but it's taking action to reduce that hazard. And so when you do mitigation, we can use this as an example back here. We have all these cables and we have these wires and everything. What kind of hazard does this pose to me or someone walking around here? Tripping hazard. So what can we do to try and reduce someone from tripping here?
Put a carpet over it.
Put a carpet over it, maybe rearrange something. And so you're doing things to lessen the effects of that hazard or to almost eliminate that hazard if you can. Preparedness, again, developing plans, procedures, training, personnel, whether it's government employees, whether it's the average citizen, we want to make sure that everybody gets trained. Response is, again, just as it says, we're responding to the disaster. It's done in everyday life. Your fire department, sheriff's department, they respond to those emergencies. That car crash down the street, what they do in that car crash is what they do in a big disaster. The way they handle things at that level is no different than we did with the windstorm. It just takes a lot more people. And then recovery. After everything happens, you've got to get back into it and make sure that you're back going to school, everybody's able to go to work, that you're trying to return your lives back to some sense of normalcy. And so, where do you think you guys might fit in this these steps of emergency management? I have prizes for people that participate.
Wait, what was the question again?
As the group here, what of the 4 steps do you think you guys fit in as a group or individually?
Prevention.
Prevention. You can do prevention. So give me an example of how you would be able to fit in with the prevention aspect of it. Right now, that's prevention preparedness.
I was going to say preparedness.
Yeah. Preparedness is probably more of the phase that you would fit in taking actions to prepare yourself.
response if you see something to go ahead and try to do something about it, not just walk away.
And I like where you're going with that. The response is going to be more doing the action to take care of that. But getting involved and reporting it or doing something, you're assisting in that. And you may be actually on the first step, preventing something from occurring or preventing something from getting worse. And so we're doing this every day. And so don't think it's something new, something different that you guys are going to have to learn. Emergency management, just like with anything at school, you guys have rules that you have to follow. We as the City of Temple City have rules that we have to follow as well. There are specific rules, as our city manager Bryan spoke with about in the first session, was there's rules that are developed by the federal government and the state government, and everything kind of trickles down. We have rules that the residents have to follow. And so we are governed by rules that are developed by the state. One is the California Standardized Emergency Management System, or you may hear it called SEMS. The other is the National Incident Management System, NIMS, and the Incident Command System. And what these systems and these training do is they coordinate in cooperation among all responding agencies. And so if you have the fire department, the police department, public works, all responding to one incident, they're going to be able to coordinate and work cooperatively to accomplish the goal, which is to take care of that disaster. If we have public works doing their own thing, the fire department's doing their own thing, and the sheriff's department's doing their own thing, they have someone that's shot over here, but the fire department's doing something over here, that victim's not going to get helped. And then public works is just clearing trees off of the streets, but there's other stuff, that this big sinkhole that's over here, and they're not coordinating with everybody else, so it's creating a more of a hazardous situation. And so what we do is follow these rules, and these are something that makes it easier, and that's why they have the terms standardized in them, especially with the state of California, so that it's one standard system that from Temple City all the way to Sacramento, we follow the same rules. We're all in this together. Who can tell me what that kind of means?
That everything that happens to one specific person affects another in some way that we may not notice, but it will eventually affect you.
It will eventually affect us, and so what is it that we can do if we know that something's going to affect someone else, or if, in this context, if I'm overwhelmed with a lot of stuff that I have going on, I need more pencils, or I need more pens, what am I going to do?
You can help each other.
We can help each other. And so, just because it's happening in the city of Rosemead, or the city of Arcadia, or the city of San Gabriel, doesn't mean that only the city of Rosemead or city of Arcadia handles it. We have a common goal, and we want to make sure that we help each other. So it's called mutual aid agreements. And so what the mutual aid is if I have a situation where I need more resources, whether it's people, I need equipment, I need food, Rosemead has the ability to help us and provide that. We have this agreement with all of the state of California, so all the cities in the state of California, all the counties, all the different organizations, public and private, and we'll go into a little bit more on that. And what they do, like it says, is provide services, resources, and facilities to jurisdictions when local resources are inadequate to cope with the situation. So if we had, let's say, an earthquake, or let's say a windstorm, again, happened in Temple City, and it took out 3/4 of the city, and it was only in Temple City, would we have enough bodies as far as staff-wise? Will we have enough places if these people need to evacuate their homes to put them up for a night or 2 nights? All we have is maybe Temple City High School, maybe the Oak Gym, and our community center. And if we have 36,000 people that live in the city, is 3/4 of that population going to fit in those 3 buildings? So we're going to ask Arcadia to help us. We're going to ask San Gabriel, Rosemead, El Monte, the county. And so we're going to get those resources to be able to provide services to our community. It's voluntary and it's reciprocal. So basically it's, if you help me today, I'll help you when you need it. And it's not going to be, well, I'm keeping track of every time that I've helped you, so now you owe me 5 times. No, it's a continuous process. We do have mutual aid agreements, and we work closely with public agencies. And we do have them at different levels. Some of our local agencies are neighboring cities, like I said, Arcadia, Rosemead, San Gabriel, El Monte. We work closely with the school district, both Temple City Unified, Arcadia, and El Monte School District, because the students in our city attend those different schools. We even work with Rosemead and El Monte Unified High School District because students attending Rosemead High School or Royal. State of California, it's the California Office of Emergency Services, or you may hear Cal OES, the California National Guard, and federal is the Federal Emergency Management Agency, so that's the overwhelming emergency agency for the United States of America. And then also, I'm sure if you're watching news, you're hearing right now about the CDC. What's going on with that the CDC is involved right now? Ebola. So besides working with government organizations, we do partner with non-government organizations or private sector. At this time, you can see over here, Lucy is one of our, she volunteers for a lot of our programs. She's one of our neighborhood watch area leaders. She's part of Temple City's CERT team, and she's also a Red Cross volunteer. And so you can see Red Cross is a big organization that helps the city in a disaster. And so I'm going to turn it over to Lucy to just say a little bit about how Red Cross works with the city in preparedness and response.
Mainly during a disaster, Red Cross comes in right away and we set up shelters. We provide food, we provide, as I said, sheltering. But then Bryan mentioned there are 36,000 residents in this city. If we were to have a massive disaster, that's not going to be, we're not going to be able to situate everybody. But Red Cross is nationwide, so we also go to all the different cities, the neighboring cities. I'm part of T2, Territory 2, which is basically majority of the San Gabriel Valley, and we help each other out. We also cross territories. And a lot of people think about Red Cross just in natural disasters, but we actually respond to fires, single house fires, more regularly. It's a daily event for us, and what we do is we also come out and we help these people who are now displaced find a place to, if they don't have family around here, we help them find a place to stay. We help find a place for their pets. We give them food. Even, I don't know if you guys remember, but a few weeks ago, there was a standoff situation in Pico Rivera where an apartment building had to be evacuated. Anytime there is an evacuation caused by whatever reason, man-caused disaster, Red Cross is there. How many of you, are you all from Temple City High? Have you ever heard, okay, from those who are at Temple City High, have you heard of the Red Cross Club on campus? And how many of you are a part of it? Okay, wow. Obviously, if you're here, so you're taking the first step in becoming civically involved. I would recommend that when you get a chance to look up Red Cross Club. Red Cross is working with CERT, working with all the cities. Basically, my job as an ambassador is to bring Red Cross resources into the city. And I'm trying to work my way into meeting with the Red Cross Club at the high school. So I'm hoping that, one day I'll see you guys there.
Also, I know there was a club. I don't know if it's still there, like the Earthquake Club, or is that still something that you guys have at the high school? Okay. I know. It was there for maybe like 5 years ago. They had something, so.
That's why we gotta get the team circle.
And so that's where, again, as Lucy said, Red Cross is a big part of the community. They're the largest volunteer organization nationally and internationally. Next behind them is the Tzu Chi Foundation. Who's heard of the Tzu Chi Foundation? A couple people. They were involved with the windstorm with the city. Some of you guys maybe saw those gray blankets. They're real nice blankets. They're recycled blankets and they're real warm. So they were giving those out to families that didn't have power, and since it was a cold night, they brought in boxes and boxes of blankets, and they also provided some monetary assistance to some of the families that had damaged homes that didn't have the resources or the money to make those repairs. Salvation Army, we also work with the Edison, the gas company. They're not government organizations, they're private organizations, but we have to work closely with them. Windstorm's an example of that. Faith-based organizations, churches. Churches are a real good resource for the city and the communities because they know a lot of the people in the community and they're already combine and have one goal as a group, and so it's a good resource. And then community organizations such as the Community Emergency Response Team, or CERT, and Kiwanis Club, and some of the other clubs that are out there. Now, we're going to talk about how you can be prepared. There's a few things that you can do. One is you can get trained with CERT training, and we're going to go a little bit more into that. Become a Red Cross volunteer when you're 18 or older, but that doesn't mean that you can't get some of the training now. You guys can take first aid, CPR, AED training, which is invaluable. I personally used it myself during a council meeting when someone passed out, and myself and one of our sergeants gave the guy CPR because he passed out and he wasn't breathing and had no heartbeat during a council meeting. Have a plan. Have a disaster plan and an escape plan. If you have the plan, just having it doesn't mean that it's going to be effective. You've got to use it, you've got to practice it. When are you supposed to change your batteries on your smoke detector? What's kind of the rule that they have that reminds you to do that?
Is it like every year, every 2 years?
Every 6 months.
Daylight savings?
Yeah, when the time changes, very good. And so when the time changes, so when you change your time forward or when you fall back, that's a good time, and it happens all the time, so it's a good reminder to change your batteries on your smoke detector, practice your plan, change out your supplies, your emergency supplies. You want to keep supplies. You guys don't work, or some of you may, but homework and car, because you never know where it's going to happen. So if you have something in your backpack at school, or I don't know if you guys have lockers at school, keep something in there that is going to get you through the basics of what you need. Making sure you have water, some cash. If you have glasses, have a spare backup glasses so that if the other ones break, or if you wear contacts. If you guys wear contacts, what happens when you get the dust and your eyes get irritated? You've got to take the contact lenses out, right? When you take them out, can you see? No? So you want to have the glasses just in case. And then stay informed. I know you guys all know social media here, right? There's no question about that. That's a very good resource to keep informed. Just a personal experience, I have family that's in Japan, and when they had the big earthquake in Japan, we couldn't get a hold of any of my family, but through Facebook, I was able to find out that my family was okay. And so whatever resources, the radio, the city's website, just stay informed so that you know what's going on. So we've talked about this a little bit. The Community Emergency Response Team is a training that teaches the average citizen about disaster preparedness, hazards, and basic response skills. It's 20 hours of instruction. Mayor Pro Tem Chavez is one of our recent graduates.
The coolest part was doing
The fire pan.
putting out the fire with a fire extinguisher.
You see the top right corner? That's what he's talking about.
Yeah, there you go.
And so that's something that teaches you how to do the basic response in the event that another catastrophic earthquake happens, a windstorm, or whatever occurs. It's no different than you guys going to school and taking instruction. There's hands-on components of it. Training is provided. We provide the training as a city, but we also work closely with the fire department and the sheriff's department. And then for the adults that are 18 and older, we have what we call an advanced CERT team, which Lucy is a member of. The advanced CERT team gets additional training. They get to work closer with the city, and they respond to us with different events or disasters, and they'll assist in special events, and they'll help us manage our emergency operations center, which is the room that we would all go in if there's a disaster, where we can coordinate resources from one room. And so what we're trying to do here in Temple City is develop a teen CERT program. And so what I need from you guys to do is kind of, as we get this going and you start hearing about it through the school, because I'm going to go and talk to Ms. Perini about this program and see if we can get it rolled out to, it's primarily going to be the high school. We may include junior high. I've got to talk to her about that. But it's a collaborative effort just between the city and the school district, and it teaches students on how to be prepared and how to respond within the high schools. And again, this program was designed primarily for high schools. And so if there is something that occurs, let's say a bomb threat. We had that, right? At Temple City High School last year. So if there's a bomb threat and this program's in place, the CERT trained students can assist with the evacuation and coordinating some of that response and preparedness levels, assisting the school security, assisting the teachers to make sure that all that is done. And they would give you certain privileges above what the other students have just because you've attended that training and it's recognized by the school district. And so what we want to do is train students in the basic emergency response and preparedness. And once this program is up and running, the Teen CERT members will be able to participate and join and train with our advanced CERT team members. The duties will be limited, obviously because of liability and age, but you can get some of the same training that we have, whether it's first aid training, it can be training regarding dogs and animals on how to handle that situation. And so it's something that I want to see really spread through the schools, and everybody in here is going to hopefully help me accomplish that once I have that meeting with Ms. Perini. Who's here from the high school? Okay, half. Who's from Oak? The other half. So do you think Mr. Lawton would like to, Mr. Gray would like to see this at the school? Yeah.
I have a question. Is that real blood?
Is that real blood?
Yes.
What do you think?
Yes.
No. So what this is actually a Teen CERT program that they started in the city of Long Beach. And so these are actual students that participated. They go through the same classes that Lucy's gone through, that I've gone through, get the same information, and it's just applied in a different manner. These are students from Long Beach Poly High.
In the drill, they just moulage you.
Yeah. Do you know what moulage is? Makeup. So it's putting the makeup. So if my arm, if it says I'm gonna have a broken arm, like for the high school, who's seen the every 15-minute program? When we do the exercise out, are you guys seniors this year? Or are you guys juniors? Okay. Because it's the junior and senior class that'll see the reenactment on the street. And we have an accident that's recreated, and so they'll have the bone sticking out from someone's arm with blood on it, and so it looks like that they flew out the window and broke their arm, or they have a big gash on their head. So that's what moulage is. And so it makes it so that instead of you coming up to the scene in this, what we call an exercise, is training, when you come up to the scene during an exercise, instead of saying, oh yeah, well pretend that Hank over here has a cut on his forehead and he has a broken arm. When you see him and you're like, okay, well what am I going to do? But if we put the moulage on there and then we show that he has a bone sticking out and we've taught you how to treat these injuries, you're going to apply that training based on the injuries that you see instead of what you're being told. So it just makes it a more realistic environment so that you can learn better and learn how to do it the right way. So now with CERT, with all this emergency preparedness, who recognizes these pictures? Everybody should. Who knows where this one is?
Longdon. Yeah, Longdon.
Longdon?
Oh, Gavin.
No.
Oh, the street,
Live Oak.
right? The street.
Live Oak. See, this house, this is what the cars look like after the tree was gone. This is over here in the park. And then this is another one where the tree, you see the whole grass lifted up, smashed the car, and then there's a branch going all the way through into the living room. And so some of what the Teen CERT program would teach you how to assist us in this. During the windstorm, we graduated an adult CERT class 2 weeks before that. And we didn't have the advanced team at that time, but we were able to use some of the graduates to assist us. How do you guys think you would be able to assist us in this?
Chainsaw.
Chainsaw? No. Definitely not.
Helping clean up a lot of the mess.
Can be helping clean up.
Helping like evacuate the people, or like just send people over there to like reassure them that there will be other people coming to help.
Yeah, you can talk to people, communicate, be a voice, and pass out information for the city. Anybody else?
Help with like the heavy work of like just like all of you together to help with the stuff.
Yeah, and depending on what your strengths are, you can help us carry equipment, or if you're someone that can talk to people and just be there. A lot of times when you have a disaster, people psychologically go through stress, and it's not something that they know how to cope and deal with. Sometimes all they need to do is have someone to talk to. During the windstorm, we had some of our volunteers passing out water and just talking to people. And if you're sitting there talking to people, they forget what's going on, and they kind of come back to some sense of normalcy, and then they're able to take care of themselves again. And so you guys can do that too as well. And so there's different roles that we have for everybody that they can do. And so that's the end of the presentation. But as part of the class, some of the stuff that we covered,
Oh my gosh.
we're going to go over and play Jeopardy! And remember, Jeopardy, the answer has to be answered in the form of a question. So let's see, let's divide the room up into 2 teams.
You're with me.
So we'll have her on this side. So it'll be Adam and Zephania. Zephania. On this side, that'll be Team A. And then everybody on that side of the table will be Team B. And so we'll start with Team A. Pick your category. Or actually, we'll stay away. Won't do the fire safety or the fact or fiction. If you want to do it, it's not something that we really covered. Some of what we kind of covered is going to be in these 3: the get a kit, make a plan, be informed, and possibly the earthquake. So pick from those 4 categories. Anybody? Team A?
And be informed.
Be informed for how much?
200.
Southern California is subject to all of the following disasters except.
How did you wind up to answer? Fight for it, or Team A answer?
Well, we'll have Team A say beep 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 beep, and Team B say bop 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 bop. So you've got to ring in to get it. Go ahead.
Is it, what are tsunamis?
No.
You wanna go?
Oh, you can.
What is heat waves?
No.
What are hurricanes?
Yes. Okay, you have the board.
Fact or fiction 300.
We'll see what that one is. You guys will know that one. So we'll stay with these 4 categories.
4 or 3?
4. Earthquake to get a
Okay.
kit.
Earthquake 400.
She's going for the big one. We didn't cover this, but
It's been a long time.
it's a very long time.
What is
You didn't pop up.
Who's got to ring in?
BBB. What is 100 years?
No.
What is 150 years?
What is 150 years? And the last one we had was 300 years ago. So in California, our major disaster is going to be an earthquake. And we don't say if it's going to happen, it's just a matter of when. And when it happens, it's going to be big.
Should it happen before we die? Or do you think it's going to happen before we die?
It'll happen in your lifetime.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I may share just a stat, Caltech's new 30-year forecast is at 99% for a 7.8 to happen. That's as of this January, 30 years on out. 99%.
So are you gonna be 30 years alive in 30 years from January?
I should be.
I hope so.
You
I
know,
hope
let's
so.
Okay, so you have the board. You can do, or you can ask your team what they want to do.
Baldy, go. Baldy, go.
What?
You pick the board.
Category and
Oh, category in be informed. Let's just go for 100. Play it safe.
what is safe and well linking?
Blah, blah, blah. What is online registry to look for family members after the
Good
Very
job.
good.
Good job.
And
That is a Red Cross initiated program. If you sign up, have your family members all sign into that. If we're in SoCal, you're stuck in an earthquake, when you get to a shelter, a Red Cross rep will help you log in. Okay, and this way your family members outside will be able to tell, okay, you're okay.
okay, so we'll go 2 more questions and then we're gonna get going because they're waiting for us next door, I think.
Be informed 500.
What information will the local radio station give you after a disaster? Did I hear ba 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 ba? Or did I hear
What is D? All of the above.
Yes. And so the last one.
All right.
Come on, Team A. We'll let Team A pick.
Okay. Make a plan 300.
Make a plan 300. Okay. What steps should pet owners take when preparing their pets for emergencies? BBB? Are you saying BBBB?
No. Oh, what is
Ba, ba, ba,
Adam?
What is A?
A?
Assemble an emergency supplies kit.
Yes. You guys see the picture on?
We have to show them pictures of the disaster. We have to talk to them.
Yes, we do. Did you guys see that on the slide? Even though I didn't touch on it specifically.
Yes, I saw the cat.
What's right here?
It's a ninja cat.
So this is again putting together a kit, and who do you include?
Your pets.
Your pets. So does anybody have questions? Like I said, this was a real quick, real short introduction to emergency management and kind of the CERT philosophy.
Did you make up a Jeopardy or did you like copy it off from another? Because I think I did the same one before.
We borrowed it from someone. We'll be making new ones though. And so
You stole your Jeopardy.
Like, if you want to like learn more and get involved,
if you want to learn more and get involved, I'm gonna go grab some cards. And what I'll do is have Lucy pass this out. Everybody that's in here today is gonna get. Everybody's gonna get a flashlight, a clip, a first aid guide, and a bag.
And while I'm passing this out, just a quick reminder, you can also, when you get a chance, you can go to preparesocal.org. That's the Red Cross website where you can find out more information about how to be prepared, particularly get a kit. Purple. Basically, what I did for my kids, I have a 8th grader at Oak and a 4th grader at Longden is, you know, every year when you go through those backpacks, say if your old backpack is in good enough shape, but yet you still got a new one for this next school year, save that old backpack and start your own Go Kit. We want everybody to have a Go Kit ready because if in case you're going to evacuate, the one thing he didn't show you is in our team presentation for Red Cross, there is a simulation. As I said, if we have a 7.8 or greater earthquake, there's going to be massive damage to the infrastructure of the city. And being that we're mainly residential, we are going to be overburdening the resources of the city. So there's a good chance, you know, 7.8, your house may crumble. It may be uninhabitable. You want to be ready to evacuate. It may not be to the community center, that may be in, crumbles, but you may very well end up being evacuated. So just use your old backpack and, just get a go kit ready. And either the information that Bryan passed out today, or if you go to preparesocal.org, there are information about what you need in your own personal go kit.
The other packet that I gave you guys has a lot of information. You guys can go home and bug your friends about making a plan, what needs to be in a kit. There's a lot of good information in that packet that has the CERT stuff on the front.
Yeah, and unfortunately, sometimes your parents may not, they may not participate in these events, so you're their most valuable assets. If they hear, if you urge them to please, Mom, Dad, do this for me, for our safety, they will be more likely to pay attention, because, as Bryan said, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And, I may not see it until I'm old and, can't walk, but you guys are definitely going to see it during the prime of your life.
You're welcome. Does everybody have the handouts? Does anybody need any other handouts?
She needs the PowerPoint printout. Raise your hand.
Okay, I'll give it to you next door. Everybody's got everything else. I have some cards on the table. Also, my contact information is on the bottom of the CERT packet. If you want to know more about emergency management and response preparedness, let me know. If you're interested in the CERT and you want to help me promote it and try and get those programs going in the high school and possibly the junior high, let me know. I'll welcome any help that I can get. And even if it's just to put stuff together for yourself and your family, and you want to know what needs to go in a kit, what you should put in, what you can do, I'll be more than happy to meet with you as well. So.
Yep. A lot of times when you do this training, we're not asking you to be a part of the city. If you can at least take care of yourself, that's one less 911 call that the city or the sheriffs or the emergency personnel have to attend to, because, as I said, at 36,000 residents and the 7.8 were to hit. You heard earlier, we have 40 full-time, 60 part-time. They're not going to be able to get to you. So you have to be, counting on surviving on your own. So if you can at least get your family settled, help your family, make a plan, be prepared, you're going to save yourself.
All right, so at that, we'll go ahead and get next door back into the council chambers.